All right, welcome everybody. We're going to call the meeting to order and please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And Pam, can you do the roll call first, please? Here.
Trustee Ferrano, absent. Trustee Hughes, absent. Trustee Ruggiero,
Here.
Trustee McDonald.
Here. Okay, thank you. There's a copy of your minutes from the January 6th meeting in your binder. Take a look at them. See if there's any corrections that need to be made. And I will entertain a motion to accept the minutes as sent.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, Greg, I have a question.
Sure.
This has never happened before. I have the abstracts here to read and enter into the minutes and sign, but I need deputy mayor's signature. So what do we do in an event like this?
I would just point one of your other trustees to act as deputy mayor for the purpose of signing.
Okay,
It was limited for,
okay. Can we do that with just three of us?
You have to vote, you have to vote, I'm assuming.
yeah,
Okay. So I'll entertain a motion to appoint trustee Ruggiero to be the second signature on the deputy for tonight to sign the abstracts.
I guess question, I can
you can vote, but you can't
I can't make the motion, but I can vote.
vote.
Okay.
So I'm making the motion.
Second.
Okay. Is there any discussion?
Well, no,
Okay.
I'm just.
There is
No, no. Tell Nick, no, I'm just kidding, I'm just kidding.
Okay, so there's no discussion.
No
All in
discussion.
favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you. Okay. Here we go. Thanks. Okay, so,
Oh, that's good.
oh yeah, I have to read.
Do I cross my name? I crossed Nick's name.
Okay, so I have to read them now.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll just read them into the minutes and then, yeah, just cross it out and write your name. So let's see, for Capital Water Wellfield, we have $9,625. General fund is $28,623.59. Trust and agency is $525.50. Sewer abstract is $18,887.52. And water abstract, $5,401.83. Is there a motion to accept the abstracts as read?
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. All right, so, I'd like to open my comments tonight by congratulating our employees, Shane Ryan and Mark McHugh, for earning their water operator certificates. So as mayor, I'm really proud of these guys. They're doing a wonderful job for us, and I'm very proud of them for continuing their education. So, congratulations, and thank you for your service to the village. I did attend the mayors and supervisors meeting, but I'm going to save my comments on that until we get to ambulance, because that's pretty much what the whole meeting was about. And I do have an update on the Safe Streets grant. Greg from Sarah Brown's office is putting together the agreement for us. and the draft agreements are due on February 14th. So we will be submitting that for our grant that we were awarded for Safe Streets. And then the Dutchess County Transportation Council is going to be joining us at our March 3rd meeting to give an overview of the study for the rail trail. And they're also going to present some of the preliminary design ideas for us. So this is the train tracks that go from Beacon all the way through the village, through the town, and through Hopewell. And they'll connect with all the rest of the county's trails. So the project is moving a lot quicker than I thought it was going to. So we're already at they've checked the tracks for problem areas like reconstruction, stuff they might have to do. And the tracks are in surprisingly good condition. So now the big thing is design. And our big issue here is how to get over Route 9. So they have a couple of ideas for us, which are interesting, and they're going to do about a 20-minute presentation at that meeting in March. So if anybody's interested, please join us. And then also, I was notified today that the New York Blood Center is experiencing a dangerously low blood supply, and they would appreciate any donations. They have an office right here on Route 9 in the village, right by Red Line Diner. You can virtually walk in and donate blood. So I also have a special thing tonight. We like to always congratulate and celebrate our residents and all of our businesses, achievements and anniversaries and all good news. It's good. We hear so much bad news today in the world. It's really nice to be able to celebrate some things. So tonight I have a proclamation that I'd like to present to the Tomato Cafe, which is one of our favorite restaurants in the world, on their 15th anniversary. So whereas the Tomato Cafe was established in Fishkill, New York in 2009, it was founded by 3 friends, Scott, Sean, and Vin. Whereas the Tomato Cafe has been steadfast in its dedication to the service of its customers and community for over the last 15 years. Oh, I'm sorry, it's our 15th anniversary, right? Okay. And whereas the Tomato Cafe continues to be family-friendly establishment, whereas the Village of Fishkill would like to congratulate them on their 15-year anniversary, we thank them for their contributions to our community, and we wish them many more years of success. Now, therefore, I, Kathleen A. Martin, Mayor of the Village of Fishkill, and on behalf of the Board of Trustees and residents, do hereby present this proclamation to the Tomato Cafe on celebrating your 15th anniversary in business. So thank you. Can you please come up?
Oh.
Thank you so much.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
We appreciate you guys. Thank you. No, so. I put you first, so
Thank you very much.
you know.
And we.
I know you're busy.
Even more.
Thank
No,
you.
Thank you so much.
All right, so let's go right to the department reports from here. Greg, do you have a report? Oh, they missed it. We all have, yes.
I'll just report to the board that the bond resolution, which was adopted at the last meeting, is proceeding according to plan.
Okay,
We published the legal notice in the newspaper. Dan has posted the notice in 6 locations. And 30 days after the publication, the legal, the bond resolution will be effective, subject to what we have to publish a legal notice of estoppel, which I will do as soon as I can do that.
okay,
And so everything is going
Good.
the bond.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, and now building. Do we have a report for building?
Submit the copy of the report should be in your binder.
Oh, good, okay.
This is a carryover report from Dave's ending of the term to the beginning of mine. 2 plan reviews conducted, 5 building permits issued, 12 certificates of occupancies, 0 fire inspections. The complaints investigated are unknown. I did not investigate any complaints from the 23rd of December until the 31st. I cannot speak for Dave as I didn't have any record as to whether or not he investigated any. 4 property searches were conducted, 0 foils, and 10 construction inspections were conducted. In addition to that, as I mentioned previously, we currently, at the end of, I should say, December 31st, 2024, had 206 open expired permits that we're weeding through and updating in the system to find out why those statuses were open expired. And we currently have open building permits, a total of 75 that will expire on or before December 31st of this year.
Okay,
So we will be working through those to clean those files up and to get the proper status codes on them. Some of which are actually closed, but they were not closed in the municipality, so we're working through that now.
okay,
I have other things to report on, but we'll do them.
Okay. great. Thank you. Fire, they did not, they're usually here, so they may be on a call. So we'll come back to them. Justice, that report is in your binder. Let's see here. Yes. So you have that. Okay. See, police, we also have the report in the binder.
Since there was a meeting. We didn't have a second.
Right. Okay, so we have November and December for police.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So Glenn will feel better. And that brings us to water and sewer. So welcome, Paul. Thank you for coming.
So I put the same thing, I put my November and December, flow totals and my results.
Okay.
That's the biggest thing that past month. I'll talk about the water issue that we had with low pressure threat, the system was the biggest thing.
Mm-hmm.
Little background on it, there's 2 buildings at the well field that talk to each other through modem. And they lost communication and that turned our well system off. So that's what happened, and we were able to get it fixed pretty quick, but due to, it was a holiday and a lot of people were home, a lot of usage, so
Right.
it took us a couple hours to get back to normal pressure, but that was probably the
Yeah,
hardest thing.
it was good. It wasn't the day before, so.
It wasn't Christmas.
Yeah. But thankfully that was rectified pretty.
Yeah, fairly quickly, and we had an issue with the alarm company that
Right.
was resolved, so.
Okay. All right. And again, we're very happy about the guys, Mark and Shane.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's really good. So we're happy about that. I understand it took Shane a lot longer but just because of red tape kind of.
Yeah, exactly. It took Shane almost a year.
Everything else looks good. Anybody have any questions for Paul? All right, that looks good. And then let's see, clerk treasurer. Do you have anything for us, Pam? No? Okay, Stephanie.
So in your binder, you're gonna find a comparative budget to actual report for last budget and this budget. I've been messing around with the statements and expenditures report to try to get the best user-friendly report together for you guys. So let me know if you like this format. And then I'm also going to email you an Excel version of the same report. Just that might be a little bit easier to look at. But yeah, we're about midway through the budget year. So for the next couple of meetings or so, we might want to start discussing possibly modifying the budget to see, if there's any areas that we can.
Right, we gotta start working on next year, yeah. But this is good, thank you. Does anybody have any questions for
Yeah,
Stephanie?
so on the, I guess the first page, right, you got 2025 budgeted actual, 2024 budgeted actual, then you have the top number, which it looks like what was either, I guess, budgeted,
Yes, so budgeted.
and then the bottom number is,
Is the actual, and just keep in mind, the 2024 isn't gonna be the whole budget year, it's just up until December.
right,
So both of these numbers are reflecting, both of these actual numbers are reflecting as of December. So it's not gonna be the whole budget year, so they're both looking just as a midway point for all the numbers here.
okay,
But obviously, some things come in the beginning of the year, so they're already, and then other things, haven't
Right.
posted yet, so,
okay, and it's the same throughout, right?
yes, yeah.
Okay. Mhm.
Right, yeah, no, this is very good, Stephanie. Thank you for doing this. Cause it's good, it gives us a kind of a snapshot, Any questions?
So, I don't know what page it is, but on the auditor contractual, so they're both 30, but then in 25, is that just when we booked it? I don't know what page, sorry.
From the top left hand.
This is
Oh,
page 3.
Sorry. Oh, thank you, I missed it. So for 24, is it, and it's the 12,907, so is that just when we paid it?
Yes, and that's only like a portion, it's not the full, yeah,
So when will the other fall,
for,
the audit, so then the audit will then be in the second part of the year, is that,
yeah.
okay. I'm good.
Okay, all right. Okay, thank you. Do we have an ambulance report?
December.
Okay, so we have December. Let's take a look at December. I do like the data that they send us, because at least it gives us, some comparison. Now, Nick usually gives the ambulance report, Nick Furlano, the deputy mayor, he's, ill tonight, so, I'm gonna just give a little brief update on ambulance from the mayors and supervisors meeting. We had Bill Beal come in, who is now the acting, supervisor for emergency services. The thing I talked about in meetings previously, there was a plan for the county to provide some ambulance service to help support the municipalities. It is a Band-Aid, it's not a permanent fix, but it is helpful. It's been helpful so far, and it's only been in existence since January 1st. So the county is paying for 2 ambulances and a fly car. And one of my questions was, because we know that there are some municipalities in the county that do not provide ambulance service. for their residents. For, by law, you only have to provide police and fire protection, which seems kind of absurd. So many municipalities do contract with ambulance services like we do here in the village of Fishkill. And our prices, as we've talked about for the last couple of years, have gone up exorbitantly. So, all the municipalities are, budgets have gone up a lot because of the ambulance shortage, because of the EMT crisis, nationally. So the county, we kind of look to them for support, and they've agreed to provide a couple of units. They will not go into the municipalities that do not have ambulance service. So if it's a town that does not contract and have their own ambulance service for their residents, this will not be provided to them, this service. So, when the time we met, it was only, they had 6 days worth of data. And, one of the units from the county had already been in the village of Fishkill, like within the first 6 days. So, they've been around the county, filling in some of the, what we talk about when there's mutual aid and when our units are not in service. They have been able to plug some of those holes in for us. There is no increased tax at this time. My understanding was that they used the COVID money, the ARPA money. So there's not going to be a charge for the first couple of years of this service to any of the municipalities. The county will be providing this. So it is a step in the right direction. It is help. It's not a permanent solution, but it is definitely a step in the right direction. So that was the basis of the meeting. There's been a lot of changes in personnel up at the county level. And so we went over some of that, and those are the people that we deal with any kind of extreme weather, or flooding, that's the department that we interact with. So, we're in very good hands with Mr. Beal. He's been in that field for a very long time. So, it seems to be working well so far, so good. So we'll see how it goes. And, I'll definitely keep everybody up to date, on that. And after that, we come to planning and zoning. That's you, Hans.
Things are quiet. We have a public hearing coming up, for a subdivision on Rockaway Road, which is in a flood area. The way our code reads, it's like, if you ask 50 experts, 25 are gonna say yeah, and the other 25 are gonna say no. So we're having a public hearing from the neighbors to advise on that if the property actually is flooding, or is it just the fact that, the government says you're in a floodplain area because of the map says so. So that's to be determined.
Is that a residential lot or a commercial lot?
It's a
Residential, okay.
Also, after my meeting on the 20th, there'll be a training session. I've notified all my people, and they said they're all going to attend. We can get the word out to the DBA. We advise them.
Well, we would have Ginny do that.
Right. Saying that, just that they don't get together for not invited people.
Oh, yeah, well, let's have Jenny send out an email invitation to them, the zoning board as well.
And so
Okay, thank you.
I'd also like to, thank the water department for the very quick action. I had a problem and they came around. Thank you very much.
That's what we like to hear. Thank you. Thanks. All right, so Tomato Cafe, we already dismissed them. So Ray Williams and the Rugby Club and Glenn Raptor's not here, right?
Yeah, Glenn,
No,
Glenn
okay.
wasn't able to make it, but
Okay, all right.
I sent over an agenda.
Okay, do you want, yeah, you can come up to the podium.
Yeah, gotta.
Okay, thanks.
Also printed out, I apologize for the printer quality, my printer absolutely terrible.
Oh,
And, just, I
Oh,
think
yeah.
talk about it.
I saw that picture, yeah.
One of the things- good conditions. Definitely, the latter half of this season was pretty rough.
We didn't have any rain.
No, I know, there were definitely severe drought, so
Yeah,
completely understand there, but, I guess we wanna know what we can do to help out to make it better. We did already gradually purchase a bunch of grass seed, that's stored in our shed. We're happy to collaborate and deploy that, but, if there's anything else that can be done as far as irrigation or anything like that, because I'm not sure if that's something that's been explored by parks or,
Mhm.
the village in general. Is that something that has been?
I have Paul behind me, so I mean, behind you guys, so I can't really,
So I can.
he's the water guy.
We should probably, aerate that too. We don't own one, but we can probably rent one and just do the field itself.
That's something that.
When we seed it.
Discussed as well, yeah.
Yeah, so we can help with that. I mean,
Sure.
we have a nice seeder, so.
Oh, great.
We can seed and aerate as far as irrigation. I mean, there's one water service there up at the pavilion. But to leave it hooked up on timer or something, I don't think that's something that we can really do just because
Sure.
it's public space.
Yeah.
But if I can show you where it is and if you guys want to set up a sprinkler, I mean, I'm not against that.
Gotcha, yeah, I mean, it's obviously, I know it's irrigation's a tough sell, of course, because, especially, I mean, I'm sure during drought times, there's probably, restrictions on.
Yeah,
That's,
yeah, it was an exceedingly dry season, so,
there's definitely some, running on that really hard surface, it takes a lot on the knees and ankles and joints and stuff, and most of us are not very young, so we're definitely hurt, extra, so it's just, there's a slight safety factor there as well, of course, too, so. Not to say that the conditions are unsafe.
right, so if you could work with Paul, and I think you worked with Mark McHugh down there, right, so he's Paul's, guy, so
Okay, great.
maybe you guys can get together and work on that.
Yeah, love that. So, yeah, we'll collaborate on that. The next thing is, so we happened to get a set of rugby posts, donated from an old club, that was, friends of ours up in, Hunter Mountain.
Mhm.
There's a rugby post that, the team no longer exists, unfortunately, so they donated the post to us. They're actually currently sitting behind our shed, and we wanted to see if we can get permission to install them. They were very easily removed up in Hunter. It took 3 of us and maybe an hour and a half or so to remove them, and all that was left was about a 5 or 6 inch hole where each post was that's easily fillable. So we're not planning to use concrete or anything. They're
Mhm.
heavy duty plastic sleeves that they were installed in up in Hunter. We plan to take the same approach. It would be huge for us as a club, and of course it would be able to be for use to the public as well. We make sure to maintain them, and if they had to come down, we'd be responsible for that. Of course, we would hold you liable if it was damaged by the public or anything like that, so.
And it won't interfere with soccer.
Right, and most importantly, the soccer fields can be within the footprint of the rugby field. So
Okay,
the soccer goals could effectively just go right in front of the rugby posts. And as you know, we've been talking with Len from Total Football, who I think they're the only other organization
Yes.
that uses the field at the moment.
Right.
So there were some in the past, and some in the future, but they currently play the other direction. They currently play from like river to rail.
okay,
They play that direction. So even there would be no interference for sure that way. So they play on kind of a shorter.
oh, okay.
But even if they were to use a full size field, they would still be within the dimensions.
Hmm.
Yeah, with your permission, we'd love to paint them up, make them look nice and get them installed.
So that would be another thing that I would like Paul to take a look at that, like what that would be like for us. Before we could commit to that. I mean, I like the fact that they're easily removable.
Liability on our end,
Right, and that,
like they fall, like are they fixed, do they move, could
So
they potentially cause damage to somebody
Right.
walking by?
So what's really nice is that they are, although they look heavy, they're extremely lightweight. They're made of aluminum. So I believe it's 4 or 5 inch round aluminum pipe. They're maybe about 30 pounds each. So certainly if you were to get hit directly on the head by a falling, yes, it would do some damage, but they're gonna be sunk down 4 to 5 feet in the ground. Unless we get some, five hurricanes. Shouldn't be, I don't foresee it anymore. They've been fixed up at Hunter Mountain now for, I believe they've been like 8 years or so. And, like I said, without any, heavy duty tools, the three people were able to remove them. So,
Is there any liability that we'd have to be? Okay, I mean, it's like a goalpost, basically, is what it is, right?
it's gonna be about, probably 20 or 25 feet tall,
Mm-hmm,
once it's there in the ground.
okay.
They currently have an agreement, right, for their shed, so do we modify the agreement to include this, since it's private
Yeah, that would.
property on public?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, obviously the only difference being that it'd be over.
Yeah, this is not
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
permanent
no, no, no.
property, yeah,
So,
okay. And tell us about the next part.
so unfortunately Glenn's not here, but they wanted to pursue soccer goals of their own. They did send over, I apologize, I don't think I forwarded it. They sent over the exact model goal posts that they were gonna purchase. I believe they were 7 feet by 28 feet or something like that. So I could forward you the specs, but, they wanted to, I know you already have goals there, so I don't know if that would be an issue.
Glenn said that he was gonna come to the February 3rd meeting with the
Yeah.
information.
He told me today that he was gonna go to the instead, so that was already on our agenda, so we could, I guess that'll be addressed later.
Okay,
But we are working with them, and we're certainly, we're able to share the field.
yeah, no, that's wonderful.
Obviously, we have a shared interest in the maintenance of the field.
Greg, it would be the same question, right? So we'd have the soccer goals that we don't own.
Right.
So would it be easier if they, both clubs, I guess, if they donated? Right, so if they donated in their case, the goalposts, and the other case, the soccer, so if they donated the stuff to the village, then there's no issues, we'd have to install it, right, but then there's no, liability, there's no any indemnification, there's no agreements, but then they just donate the stuff to the village. Again, they'd have to
But
think
with,
about
with the
that.
rugby, they might want to take it back.
Well, I'm
though.
just throwing it out there, that,
I
they'd
don't,
have to think about that.
so long as you're willing to have us in the village. we're willing
Yeah, I
to
don't think
use
that's a
their
problem, but I'm
towers.
just thinking in the
I don't think that would be
future,
a problem, logistically. I don't think
right,
that'd
they're
be a problem.
growing, soccer's the total football is growing, right? So instead of keep getting private stuff on our public land, maybe
Mhm.
it's a donation.
Hmm.
I don't know, Greg, you'd have to, I'm just trying to think outside.
That might be a cleaner way to, yeah,
You could always have a provision that if the village stopped using it, there could be a reverter where you give the property back.
I'd be okay with that, yeah, I mean, yeah.
okay.
Yeah. we'd be
All
able to
right.
do.
And so then we'll see Glenn next time and talk to him about his
Okay. That solves some issues.
goals, because they sound a little more,
Yeah, obviously those are
Permanent.
movable.
right,
Slightly more permanent.
Right.
Yeah, no.
Great, that's awesome, thank you.
well, I want to hear about number 4.
Yeah, so some really exciting stuff. We partnered with an organization called Rugby New York. And what they do is they go around to local schools, middle schools, high schools, and they incorporate rugby into the PE curriculum. And it's really cool. Matt Chrysanis is the director of youth rugby and president of Rugby New York. He started doing this down in Pelham. And they have an extremely successful youth program now that many different schools utilize for the youth to play rugby. And that's anywhere from, I think they start ages, 7 through 18. So we, like I said, we partnered with them. We're going to be going around to local schools, middle schools, and high schools, primarily junior high schools is the target, and volunteering with these youth programs to. The goal is to try to basically have a rugby day at school where you teach all the kids rugby, but more importantly, you teach the teachers, the PE teachers, how to incorporate it into their curriculum. You leave them with all the equipment and everything that they might need to keep it going. And of course, we're all local, so we'd love to come back if needed. So if you all have any connections to local schools, we'd love to explore that as well, because it's really just sending out cold emails and calls to try to get involved into the curriculum. So
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything in the village.
Well, we have an elementary school.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, definitely. I think that's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, and it's, so this, our eventual goal is to have a full-time youth branch of our club. We currently have a women's team and a men's team, both adults. But to have like an under 18 team, an under 12 team, that's really our long-term vision. So, this is all kind of playing into that long-term goal, connecting with the local schools and stuff, so.
Yeah, but that's exciting, partnering, and thank you for doing that. I think that this is great, really. I mean, it's just another thing for kids to do, like another sport, because if you go, like, some of the schools are really large here, and like the baseball team, they only keep so many kids. You know, the basketball team, they're only gonna keep so many. It's just another opportunity for kids to get active and get involved, so thank you.
Yeah, and of course, the goal is to have some clinics at the park as well.
Yes,
I think
yeah.
starting the schools and having, if we're able to foster some good relationships with them, being able to kind of like push them to these events that we have in the communities that or rec center. I don't know, is there a village rec center?
We don't have a village rec center. There is one at the town of Fishkill. East Fishkill has a pretty big rec program too. No, there's plenty of opportunity, I think, definitely.
Sure.
So,
Thank you.
yeah.
We also brought, we signed a ball for the village. Thank you. It's that's the guy rugby balls.
Thank you. That's great. Thank you. We will display it with pride. We will.
We can put on some adult things as well.
Stephanie, you gotta get a picture of that.
That'll be our team bonding activity.
Any time I've ever come down to visit,
You have to do something.
they have tried to get me to go on the field. I'm not going on the field. In front?
Yeah, sure.
Oh.
Yeah.
Thank you, that is really nice of you, thank you so much.
Absolutely. That's all we had. Any questions or concerns?
Rugby until then. This is really nice, thank you.
Thank you so much. So you have a Mark number? If not, I'll give you mine.
Yeah.
Or you have mine? If not, say mine.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, whenever.
Here's their picture too.
I'll take it.
They're always down there.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? Yeah, we should. Thank you so much for coming in, and thank you for everything you're doing. It's really exciting.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so we're gonna move on. That's so nice, isn't it? And we're gonna move on to the building fees discussion. So we have some stuff in our binder. So we have
Oh, sorry. Oh, okay.
the proposed schedule for fees.
Yeah, nice and easy. Yeah, there you go.
What does this stand for? The C plus CC under commercial property for demolition permit?
Certificate of compliance. Or certificate of occupancy, depending on which one it is, yes. And you'll note that there is an updated change highlighted. There was a discrepancy in the fees and I highlighted them in yellow. Previously it showed on would be the last page under use variances. There was a
a typographical error. It showed $1,000 in the printed number. We changed that to reflect 2,500. In addition, there was a incorrect, under the residential variances, it showed the citing of the town law or the town code for a variance, for a village law building on a unidentified street. So we corrected that to be a 734 variance, and that was highlighted as well. And I believe I provided a copy of that law for you, just so you understood what a 734 variance was. We did not previously have a designation for that in our fee schedule, so I don't know how they charged for that before. In addition, I did research and confirm that we can in fact amend our fees specific to the building department and our planning and zoning fees by resolution. It's in chapter 81 of our code, and it says specifically that from time to time we may amend so by resolution. Happy to answer any additional questions that you might have on the subject.
So everybody, has had time to review these.
I had a question regarding the variances, under the residential. I mean, is that per item? Because variances can include many different items under one variance, or is it per variance? I mean, you could have 10 different things that need to be addressed in a variance.
So, it's a good question. I'm gonna actually ask Greg on that. I mean, typically speaking, a variance would be, an application would include the items you're seeking relief from, so it would be all inclusive, I would think.
I would think so too. I think it relates to the premises. And that premises might need 5 different variances, but it's one application. That's before the board, so I think this applies to that one application.
So like per property.
Per property.
Right, so any of the items you would place upon that application at that time would be included in that fee at that time. It wouldn't be
Not close variance.
per item of that variance.
Mhm.
Sometimes things come up as the project progresses, that project changes.
Right, those amendments, they probably, if they're already in application, depending on where they are in application, whether or not they'd be required to come back for another public hearing, that may trigger a new application.
Right.
But if they've not already started a public hearing, then potentially they could be included.
Okay.
Had a public hearing already been called and closed and something come up, then that may trigger a new application, yeah. But if you come in and you need 3 items, for instance, that would be one fee
Right.
on one application.
Right, so if I had like one parcel and I needed 5 variances, it would just be one.
One,
Right.
if they're all on the same application.
Correct, okay, gotcha.
Maybe hard pressed to get all 5 of those variances, but we'll reserve decision until the application is heard.
And this has not been revised since 2012.
That is correct.
Schedule of fees, so.
Nick, why? So you increase the commercial area variance by 1,000, but you left the use variance the same. What was your thought?
Just to unify that cost to be the same, there was no methodology to make it any higher. That obviously is within your purview if the board chooses to do so.
Is this what you found when you did comparisons to other municipalities?
Some municipalities actually were lower on some of the fees, but when looking at those 2 items, There was no reason for the disparity between the two, at least in commercial, so I brought them to the same amount. There was no reason not to.
Just like the residentials are the same.
Correct. It's my understanding also, it's been quite some time since we've had a residential variance from what
Yes.
Ginny has said. And
Oh,
from
yeah.
what Hans has said as well, so.
And what does this mean exactly, the interpretation? Is that something similar to what you guys are experiencing right now, where you have to go back and kind of
Correct, that would be where.
involved and
So actually, there's the interpretation, in this case that we're talking about is, the building inspector makes interpretations of the code, and then you have the ability to go to the ZBA if you disagree with that interpretation. And then, in the case of the zoning interpretation that's set forth, here, my understanding is we're talking about that process for which you challenge that interpretation.
challenge.
So the interpretation of $400, that's for challenging your interpretation.
Correct.
Is there a fee for your interpretation? Right, sometimes they can go right to, depending on the application, right? So they can go and ask for an interpretation of the building inspector before they even go through the
I don't
process.
think there should be a fee for that, that comes right from the building inspector, that's his job.
Nope, that's fine.
But an interpretation where they dispute building inspector and they
Right.
want to hear a hearing for the zoning board of appeals, that is where the fee should come in. Is that-
Correct.
Yes, so you have it under residential. Do you want to also include it under commercial?
We certainly could, and I would say that if we're going to do so, we should have a more significant fee of.
I would just think at some point,
Sure.
you never know. In the commercial, you could get an interpretation. Yeah.
Determination on interpretation of the code, especially on collecting that.
That's what I would think, right?
More likely.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would think it's more likely, right? Yeah, so I would, yeah, whatever you think is, I think it should be included, whatever you think is a fair dollar amount, you know,
Okay.
I don't know about anyone else does.
Yeah, no, I think that sounds reasonable.
Variance, $1,000. Appropriate,
Hmm.
that would be my.
Recommendation, yeah.
These variants are very, very, very hard to get. It's not one thing comes. No, you have to go through very.
No, I agree, but it could have been just like the other night at the planning board, right? So it was an interpretation of what the code meant, so something like that could come up in the commercial zone also, right? Or even if it was an interpretation of an area, something with the area variance, so I'm just saying that don't ever think the question will never come up, because it's all it takes is once.
Yeah, then you'll get 5 of them.
Then we'll-
Interpretation by the zoning board of appeals.
So we
Yeah,
have,
because I read it that it was for him, that's how I read the.
if you look at number 5, on, we do the last page, we have appeals from a decision of the administrative officer.
Oh,
Where,
If you look on the last page at the top of the page, there's an item number 5, appeals from a decision of administrative officer. So that's the appeals of my interpretation
to build it to the zoning board,
to the ZBA on a residential.
then what's the $400?
That's the interpretation of the ZBA that's the alternate. So we can, that's if you go to the ZBA for
For
the
the interpretation.
interpretation,
Okay,
as opposed to coming to me and me saying no, and then you appeal the determination. So we can basically carry 4 and 5 down and make them 3 and 4 under commercial, and we can change the dollar amounts if you'd like, because I think they should be changed because they are more involved, and would probably require the
Commercial would
assistant.
be, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So we can make those numbers 3 and 4. And, I think that it would be fair and appropriate to make those 1,500 for item number 3. And, I mean, I would say make them both $1,500.
With that.
Second,
Yeah, I'm okay.
what do you think, Ann?
And you said, I think you had a bunch of questions or?
No, he answered them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is something we've wanted to get done, because it's been a long time since, yeah, it was a big job, so thank you so much for your help. Yeah, with those changes, I'm good.
These, such as these for signage.
Those are addressed in here as well. Hans, we didn't make any substantial changes to those. We did increase the site plan fees just to make it a little bit more not expensive, but bring the value to the village for someone coming in with a significant project. Some of our costs were lower than they should have been. In addition, one of the things that you had mentioned, I think, when I was coming on board, that we did not have in our fee schedule at all, and I know we haven't really addressed this, but we did also put in here fees with respect to solar facilities and battery storage facilities, because we did not have anything that talked about this in our prior schedule. Not that we're encouraging people to come in and start developing them, but we're also looking forward that someone may in the
Right.
future put an application forward, and we needed to have something in there that talked to that issue.
That also includes that. Battery pack instead of a generator in their house.
So we haven't got to it on a residential side yet, but we're addressing the fees on a commercial side. We haven't really set forth guidelines on the residential yet, but we're still talking about, I actually talked with Danny and Brandon from the fire department about last week, how we start to really address that and look at that issue, because I have a lot of concerns about it
And we'll be working with NICOM on that, of course.
for the guidance. One of the problems is now is, as we talked about, people can order these off of Amazon and start daisy chaining them without us knowing about them. So that we're going to talk about a guidance, for folks as to
Right.
not do things like that.
Does anybody have any more questions for Nick? Well, we did have these last time to review. Yeah, everybody was ready to vote at the last meeting. So, we're good. Thank you for the explanation. So I will entertain a motion to increase or to change our fee schedule to the proposed fee schedule here
With
those
yeah,
two
with those, yeah.
changes. Do I need to say them? What they are?
Yes. It should be able to say.
Yes, as described in the minutes by Nick, our building inspector. So I'll entertain a motion to adopt the proposed fee schedule with those changes.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Good work, everyone.
Good job. Thank you.
Yes, very good work. Okay, what do we got next? Okay, the next item on the agenda is Merritt Boulevard. One of our frequent topics. So just for a little background, Merritt Boulevard since I became mayor, has been the single, largest source of complaints that we've gotten. In the pilot agreement for the gap, it was specified that the Village of Fishkill would be responsible for Merritt Boulevard from Route 9 to the entrance to the gap. The county was under the impression that there was another road that was being used by the trucks that service the gap, which that is not true, and that has never been true. I have spoken to and met with 3 county executives on this topic. I have met with assemblymen, senators, congressmen, in attempts to look for some assistance in paying for this. It's a very large dollar amount for a very small village to come up with, especially since most of our residents don't live over there. The road is used by the employees for the gap, by the trucks for the gap, the trucks for Amazon that are cutting through to go to Amazon from Route 9. It's really a big problem. You know, we are well aware of it. We have been working very hard to try to find some funding for this. So, a few years ago, Senator Skoufis from Orange County contacted me and told me he had money available for us. And I had the engineering report updated by our village engineers, but then the district lines were redrawn again, and we didn't get Senator Skoufis or his funding. So, as I said, I believe it should not be our response. This is a road that connects 2 county roads. Like it should be a county road because it connects 2 state roads. So to me, that's the definition of a county road, but they haven't gotten back to me yet. So we now are working with the Dutchess County Transportation Council and are trying to get this classified so that we can perhaps get some federal funding. So did you want to talk a little bit about that, the tip?
I would. So as the mayor mentioned, we that the mayor mentioned, it's been updated in the last week by the village engineer, Larry Poggi, and the Dutchess County Transportation Council is accepting applications up until Friday of this week for the 2026-2023 Transportation Improvement Program TIP Capital Program. And this is part of the 5-year federally funded program that the county submits to the federal government to utilize funds. There is no guarantees about this money. However, our project does fit some of the criteria that the county and the federal government look for when awarding these funds. Primarily, improving safety, reliability, and expanding access to transportation in Dutchess County. So in your package, you will see the report that Larry Poggi has updated for us. The cost since 2017 has increased by about $300,000. This does not include any additional set-asides for sidewalks or bike lanes, some things that the county and the federal government look for in these projects. However, they were not part of the original plan, but down the road, as the county and the feds review this, may be something they look for in the future. But our goal is to get this submitted so it gets into queue, so it's something they can score and decide if it's something they can fund for us.
Yeah. And it checks all the boxes as it relates to safety. But
Right.
again, it's no guarantee. But I mean, I feel that we really have to try everything we possibly can before we expend these funds to pave this road. I
Right.
mean, it has to be done. We understand that. We want to do it, but it's a lot of money, like I said, for a small village. And, I really feel strongly that we have to, turn every stone over.
And we don't know what changes in the federal programs are going to come now with the change in leadership in Washington. Washington may say that all programs require you to be on the tip regardless.
Right.
So that just submitting an application and being on there may be enough for a new program that comes out to fund a project like this. So being a placeholder and being in there
Right.
is what we need to do.
So that's the bottom line. If we're not on the tip, we're not gonna even be considered.
Correct.
So,
There is no cost to us to submit.
right.
If we are funded, there is a 20% match that we have to contribute, but a 20% match of, in this case, $360,000 is much better than $1.8 million to fix the road at the present moment. In addition, you will see that there is a resolution in the back of the presentation. I ran this by the village attorney. It doesn't bind us to anything other than supporting the project. And ultimately, if the project is funded, then we would need to allocate the funds necessary either through unexpended fund balances or bonding for that 20% match. If there should be a overrun of cost on the project, the federal government will not pick up that difference. It would be something that we would have to be responsible for, or if the cost increases over time. But these are just things that the county and the federal government makes you acknowledge in your resolution.
Right.
And that is there in that language. So I've prepared this information for you and working with the mayor and speaking to the county. And the application, for the most part, is ready to go, other than actually going online and filling it out and then having the resolution and the mayor executing the necessary documents, which the authority is given in the resolution as well.
Right.
So I'm happy to answer any questions. And as I said, I spoke with Greg earlier this evening, and he reviewed this resolution for form and content, and
Thank you, Greg.
he's comfortable with it.
Yeah, I think this is like an important next step for us to, take. And, hopefully we will, get some help.
That's our goal.
So do I read that? You want me to read it?
Well, I would say that you need to post the resolution, that take a motion to adopt the resolution, say.
Okay.
And the resolution will be in the minutes, so.
Okay. Okay. So I will, entertain a motion for a resolution in support of an application to the Dutchess County Transportation Council for the 2026 to 2030 Transportation Improvement Program, otherwise known as the TIP Capital Program.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you so much. This is a big step. And fingers crossed. Thank you, Nick. All right. Yeah, that's a big step. So this is very good. Okay, repaving of Merit. Water and sewer rates discussion. So we're gonna.
Me.
Where is that? Do I have that?
I don't know if I'm the bearer of good news or bad news sometimes. Good news, just news, right?
I
Just
don't-
business. It's all
I
business,
don't
right?
have the water stuff.
I have them here.
Oh, he's got it. Okay.
I'm waiting for my Amazon.
Okay.
Blue for water. I was gonna give you green for store, but I thought blue looked better.
Yeah. Blue for water. So, the water rates. The water rates have not been updated in about 4 years, 4 or 5. probably 5 years,
That's
It looks like
2021.
That's what the,
February
That says.
2021. Yes.
Okay, so. when they were
Sorry,
last
Pam, I
updated.
thought I brought yours down. It might be upstairs.
there was local law number 2 of 2021.
Correct. So this was a collaborative effort with the help and assistance of Stephanie, Ginny, Paul, myself, gathering all this data, finding agreements, Greg as well, helping, getting all the documents together and kind of coming up with where we were with our water and sewer rates, with the various contracts we have with other municipalities and outside district users. And came up with a recommendation to the board of where we believe the water and sewer rate should head in the near future in order to, one, bring us up to a level of other municipalities, and two, to start replenishing reserves and also preparing for any upgrades and improvements that we may need in the future. So that is what we've submitted for you for review this evening. Not necessarily a need for action this evening, but at least to allow you to digest the
So
information.
for, the current water, so for in village, this is approximately, for residential, it's approximately 5% increase?
The proposal is for a 5% increase for in-village on the residential, commercial, water and sewer, Your Honor.
Is this column the current rates here?
The current rates for in-district base, and this is for.
Oh, okay, he's got it over here.
Over the base rate.
Okay.
And then here is the proposed increase. This is what the projected totals would be, and then this would be the projected additional revenue.
The first column is the base,
Base rate,
then the second,
Is it-
the rate is the over.
additional units,
And you didn't show a column of the proposed dollar, you just showed that a 5% increase?
correct.
Okay.
And then the projected total, and then the projected revenue.
And then, looks like, well, residential, commercial is 5%, and then out of village,
8% for out of
and
village.
then in village sewer is 5, and then out of 8.
Mm-hmm.
And then to the water districts is a 5%,
Mm-hmm.
correct?
Correct. All in-district users would be a 5% increase. All out-of-district users would be 8%, with the exception where we're bound by contracts to follow in-district rates. Or in the case of contracts where the rates are set by the contract with no increases.
Where's Fleetwood?
Fleetwood,
That's Wappinger.
Mm-hmm.
And that's contract?
that is a contract.
When does that come up?
Mm-hmm.
I don't ever remember seeing that.
I want to say Fleetwood is, we have about, what's that? 30 years, I believe. I think there's a,
Oh, it's a long?
yeah, that's another
Okay.
long-term agreement. Some of these agreements have 30 or 40 years
Mhm.
left on them.
And it's done by local law, Greg, so we'd have to set public hearings.
No.
Providing this vote provision would be adopted in 2021. It authorized the village to adopt it by means of a resolution,
Yeah.
so you don't have to do a local.
Oh, so the 2021 local law authorized us to do it by resolution?
Correct.
Oh, okay.
That's why we included that, so you could see that language change.
The language. Oh, I see it. I see it, yeah. Yeah, it's E of each section. And if we adopt it, it becomes effective immediately, so I just got a
It would be
water bill
for
at
the-
my house.
It would be for the, April
It would be
billing,
the next billing cycle.
or whatever quarter the board chose.
I cross out what the bill is and.
Those bills.
Yeah, right. It would be the next billing. cycle.
Correct.
So then the Blodgett, Glenham and Chelsea are not by contract?
They are by contract, but the contract specifies, on those that what it is it mirrors the village rate,
Okay,
at a percentage. So for instance, if we increase our rate, it will track whatever that rate is,
okay. So Snook Road, Fleetwood and Beacon has the long-term agreement.
and they're fixed
Mhm.
rates.
Any more questions? Are you, comfortable voting on this tonight, or would you rather wait for a full board, or?
I would,
Have
yeah, I
some-
would recommend you give the board
Yeah.
members a chance to.
Okay, so they have a chance to
Just because of
review.
the particular, I didn't realize the.
They have questions and stuff.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize the particular percentages, right? So I think we should probably.
Sure. We have time to, I mean,
Yeah.
it's not imperative for tonight.
Yeah, so let's table this till the next meeting.
I mean, I think it
And-
has to be done, but I just think,
Yeah, and we can, give everybody time to like look over the information. And if they want to do additional research,
Sure.
and then we'll discuss it again at the next meeting. Thank you, though. Thank you for doing,
yeah, great job. Thank you,
putting
everybody.
this for us.
To the team.
Yeah, yes, to all of you. Thank you. Okay, and so that brings us to the final agenda item, which is the hotel room tax discussion.
I have a question, actually, sorry.
That's okay.
Greg, on the water sewer, so is it all or nothing, or is it mutually exclusive? So if I wanted to, Nick shaking his head, you look like you're gonna have a heart attack. So could we just do out of village, or do I have to also do in village?
No, you don't have to do in village if you don't want to. You can just raise the out of village.
If I wanted to keep the village,
You want to do
Flat.
it Flat, great.
okay, so it's not,
It-
it can be
You are not.
true or not related, okay.
The only thing is it won't affect those contracts that are tied to the village base rate is the only thing you have to keep in mind.
That would be for Blodgett, Glenham, and Chelsea.
Right, but you mean just the regular out of.
Oh, so those are tied to the in-village rate? Why?
That's what.
Because they're out of village, are they not?
They are.
But they're tied to the village rate.
But they're
That's
tied to the
interesting.
Village base rate,
Okay,
and that's how they're set up in the system.
right. So, okay. Nope, I'm just thinking out loud. I'm not saying one way or the other, just gathering information. Okay, sorry. I'm sorry.
So the next item on the agenda was the hotel room tax. So this came up, rather quickly last week. Apparently the town of Fishkill had it on their agenda, to discuss, instituting a hotel tax. And it has been discussed before. previously, but it came up pretty quickly, this time. So I believe this information is from Councilman Rye.
Correct.
Okay, where did this come from? Did you, Pam?
I think he sent an email. He sent
Sent us an
he-
email.
he sent
Okay,
that.
okay, so this is from Councilman Rye from the town of Fishkill. Oh, okay, I got you. All right,
Right, he's basing it on if it was
Right.
5%.
and this is information I think he got from the town assessor. The occupancy and everything. So basically what this is the, town of Fishkill Town Board is entertaining, instituting a hotel room tax on the hotels in the town. And, so a lot of those hotels are kind of across the street from our hotels. So I think it would make sense for us to at least consider this. Most of the other municipalities in the county that have hotels do have this hotel tax. Most places around the world have it, like when you travel, we pay it. So, the thought was that this is a good source of revenue that, does not necessarily come from our residents, but people that are passing through, and that is a nice way to help keep some of the tax burden off of our residents. And, another way of gathering some income to offset the real estate taxes. So, let's see.
No, it says city on the cover sheet, but I think the town has it also. Poughkeepsie, that is, sorry.
Oh,
Have
Poughkeepsie,
to look,
yeah.
but I'm pretty
That I
certain I
don't
do.
know, but, City of Beacon just passed it. I do know that. Cold Spring has it. City of Poughkeepsie has it. And we do have a fair number. We have 5 hotels here in the village. Like I said, they're kind of like right across the street from the ones, a lot of them in the town. I don't really know that people would be like, oh, let's go stay across the street because there's no hotel tax. I don't really think that would be a thing. Um, but so, I think what is, we would have to, if we were interested in doing this, we have to pass a resolution, and it has to be for home rule. And then we have to get like, Assemblyman Beetham, and I guess, Senator Rollison is gonna be helping the town of Fishkill, because there's a timing mechanism in which this would have to be passed.
Now, the only other thing I would, ask is Greg, I did do a little bit of reading through the state comptroller, and I'm not sure if villages need to seek permission on their own. It seems like most of other villages needed to have some sort of approval from the governor.
Okay,
And
So
I'm
that
not
would
sure if
be-
that was just this.
Every home rule.
yeah.
Okay,
Every home
that's what
rule.
that is.
Yeah,
Okay.
so, sorry, go on.
So we're gonna ask our representatives to help us.
Okay, so that's the.
Right, if we all agree.
And then the governor would sign.
And then the
Yeah.
governor signs it, got it.
It's a home rule law.
Right, and then we would go and do public hearings and
Then you-
stuff like that.
Once we get the home rule to do it, then we
Right.
do the local law
Right.
to institute it.
Right, so
Yeah.
this would be us asking permission to even,
Yeah, and the timing would be that it would just, this session, if we don't make this session, it would get bumped to
right,
another session is what would happen.
right.
Yeah.
So I did have a question, and I think, maybe some other people do too, about. And Nick, this is for you too, STRs or Airbnbs.
That was one of mine.
Yeah, I know, the city of Beacon wrote into their law because they don't really have a lot of hotel rooms, but they do have a lot of Airbnbs. So they pass the hotel tax really because of the Airbnbs. So I'm wondering if we should have our law speak to both. And then we have to see how we're going to have them, you know, if we would have them register or what we're gonna do about that.
I do have some language here from the New York State Department of Taxation and Finance, and they describe the term hotel to be hotels, motels, inns, bed and breakfast, ski lodge, apartment hotels, bungalows, condos, cottages, and cabin rentals.
Okay. Yeah. So I don't really know, and I know Nick just started with us, like what the situation is like, with Airbnbs, like if we're addressing them currently, I don't believe we are. So my question would be like a twofold question, like if we were going to entertain doing this, would we put in some language about that, about Airbnbs for the future?
We could certainly put it when you do adopt the tax.
Right.
You're probably gonna have to have a local law.
Right,
Be able to enforce it, so that's when you put.
okay,
Rules, it's subject,
yeah,
I think, and we can model it after city.
Right.
Municipality,
mhm,
that they're doing down there.
okay. Yeah, that was my biggest question. Did you have any others, Anthony?
Yeah, I had, Greg, I don't know, so I just had a thought. I've seen it done with other types of funding, so I don't know if it's for the home rule law, if we did the local law. But if we went forward with this and we decided on whatever percent we wanted to do, could some of that fund, the hotel tax, if you will, could some of that then be put into a dedicated fund for road improvements? So I've seen it done with other types of fees, so could it also be done with this instead of us going out to bond? Or maybe bond not as much.
Well, that's something we can look into.
Okay.
I'd have to do some research to give it for.
So essentially earmarking,
Earmark, again, I'm making up a number, right? So if we did 4%, then a percent could go to this dedicated fund for improving our roads, right? Because whoever stays at any of those hotels are gonna drive on our streets, especially Merritt, right? Okay. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
just throwing it out there. And then this really isn't, this, I guess, just maybe more of a statement. Right, so just like residents, the hotels there, so the town passed their law and we pass our law, so they'd be paying the two different hotel taxes, right? So it would be, you know, somebody stayed there, if they did 5% and we did 5%, again, making up a number, it'd be a 10% hotel tax.
Well,
The villages and the town.
Well, the village pays town, right, just like residents, so they pay, commercial, they pay it,
So they'd be double taxed.
yeah, they're in the village and.
they'd be double taxed. Yeah, again, not a reason not to look at it, I'm just.
is that true or? We don't know.
Oh, sorry, I'm saying, would it just be a portion, like, do they cap it at a certain point?
I guess that's a question, right? Because I know, right, just like I pay both taxes, and I know the commercial pays both taxes. So if there's a hotel tax, if they do their hotel tax, does that go on to the village?
Every hotel that's in the village is also in the town, so
Right,
So that they would, right?
I would think.
That's what I would think too. Again, not a reason not to look, just throwing it out there when we
Yeah.
talk about it.
mhm.
The question I have is, I know the county has hotel tax. Is that already being charged, is that countywide or?
I'd have to look, I can ask
Must be.
tomorrow. Yeah, I don't.
If they do, it has to be.
Yeah.
If they do.
Countywide, because I, just as a coincidence, I was looking at legal notices in the newspaper. And there was a local law number 1 of 2025. Increasing the tax on occupancy of hotel rooms from 4% to 5%. And it was passed by the Dutchess County Legislature on January 7th. So it was just published in the
Yeah,
Gibson
I
Journal.
can check.
So maybe you can find
Sure.
out.
yeah, so it sounds like they do.
They went 4% to 5%.
Hmm.
Then it'd be a triple.
As high as 15%.
But that has to be the way it's structured everywhere.
I would have to,
Yeah,
I'll double check that,
Yeah.
but
On that.
sure. Again, not a reason not to, just
Right.
again, throwing it out there, and I would, most are businesses or, tourists, another, you
All I
know,
see as an example, Danbury has 15% hotel tax. Danbury, in this, where we got from the town.
yeah, I'd have to verify that.
So this could easily be 15% when you add all
mm,
three taxes.
oh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, because right with Danbury,
that's gotta be county.
it's, well, it's the right, there's, because Connecticut's a little funky, right? It's not just a city, but then it's the is it a town? It kind of encompasses more than just the city, right?
Right.
So that's probably where they get the 15.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'd have to,
We'd be up to 15.
Right, that makes sense, yeah.
yeah, again, not a reason not to, just making sure everybody understands.
Right.
Yeah,
Any more questions?
I would say this one should wait until we have the.
Yeah,
board
I
too.
think so. I think so too, but it's good to start the discussion and, ask the questions as they come up, so.
And I'm assuming, and I didn't see the meeting, so the town just discussed it, they didn't make a decision one way.
No, they did vote, and they were
They did.
successful in passing it.
Asking for the, so now
Yes,
it's
They have
the,
5%.
yes, they were going to 5% because, they were advised that, it's just like more efficient.
yeah, so
Because
that's,
now because if you have to go back again, like, who was it that you just said they just switched it from 4 to 5?
county,
Yeah, it's like,
Don't have to go to the legislature.
right,
but that doesn't mean that's what they have to enact, so they just ask for full home rule up to 5%,
Up to
but when they do
5%.
their local law, it could be 2%.
Right,
Or whatever they
right.
decide. Yeah,
This was a PowerPoint, on it from Nikon, actually, and I would say the most common number for villages is 3%.
Okay.
Okay.
That's good to know. Right, so that gives us some, stuff to look at and consider. So we can table that to the next meeting. Is there, anything else?
Two things I had, we've been talking about the traffic and the through traffic of trucks and stuff. I thought we used to have some signage that said no, doesn't exist.
no what, sorry,
No, local deliveries only.
Not on Broad Street?
No
I
way.
thought there was,
There, yeah, I did too, until I did a little driving tour.
because Nick has brought that up
Yes.
before
It doesn't
about
say,
the
the only
signage.
ones we have is on these side streets that says 2.5 tons, but I'm guessing that's for maybe water purposes, 2.5 ton limit on some of these side streets, no? All these side streets, North Street, Church, they all say 2.5 tons, Bedford, like, they all say, Robinson, they all say 2.5 tons. But we used to have a sign coming right in.
Yeah. So if we
Yeah.
don't have
We
that,
do
we
not.
need to replace it.
No, and I
Okay,
looked,
Can look.
and there wasn't any at the 52 and Route 9 intersection. There isn't any when you get off the exits off at 84. So there is no signage.
I don't know that there was, like.
we were under the impression there was on Broad Street.
On
That's
the,
what-
yeah,
It's on Broad Street, and it's there for one reason, because the Ketchum Motors are the only way they could get deliveries was to come on Broad Street. So
Mhm.
that's why that sign says, for local delivery.
Yeah, I thought it was down by there.
yeah,
But we can check with Glenn.
if not, we'll have to check the code, but
Yeah,
We should,
I don't even
yeah.
think the welcome to the Village of Fishkill sign is there anymore. So
Well, the one down by CVS is still there, but it looks kind of bad. I think that the school put that up, right? It's like, down by CVS and, oh, I think it's something about the Fishkill frogs.
I don't think
It looks really bad.
I don't think it's there anymore.
Yeah,
It's not, yeah. So anyway, I just wanted to touch upon that since
Okay.
we're talking about traffic and,
Right.
you know, and trucks.
Truck
Wait,
weight,
yeah.
yeah, that's been an
So,
issue.
and I thought there used to be some signage that indicated that. And also, the FASNY, the Firefighters Association Volunteer for New York State, I get their emails and they are promoting recruitment drives. I don't know what our membership is like. But there's a lot of tips here. If they wanted to recruit by a certain date, they can apply, they can be awarded materials, gift cards, money for promoting volunteer efforts if they're recruiting and looking to seek increased membership. So I had some information on that. but they're not
Okay,
here.
good. We'll make sure that Brandon and Danny get that. Yeah, and maybe can we put it out on our social media?
Yeah, I mean, it's their thing. I don't know what their intentions are if they're seeking, but it's a big thing, Recruit New York. It's for April, but if they sign up to do this
Oh, okay.
by I forget the date in February, they can get promotional
Tap into the-
materials. Yeah, they get
Oh,
the
good.
money if they want, like.
Okay, we could maybe leave it in, do they have a mailbox here? Oh, okay, we could leave it in the mailbox.
what is,
Yeah.
Oh,
I'll
good.
leave that for that. That was all I had.
Did you have anything, Anthony?
I don't know.
Anybody? All right, well, thank you so much. And I'll, entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.